Hi everyone. Here we are, week 2. Wow. The community toolbox website that we went to had so much information. And I'm late in the game right now, recording this, but I've been doing a lot of side work for this project. And I also had a very busy work week. So forgive me for just getting it in on the wire, but I did go through all this stuff. So the community toolbox says that taking action in the community can be broken down into 5 different sections, which is assess, plan, act, evaluate, and sustain. I chose to really focus on plan and act because I feel that's the stages that I'm basically beginning the planning process, and I'm acting will be the next process after that. So uh, in the planning process, I believe I kind of touched a little bit on assess because I was thinking about my idea. I put a survey out last week, so that's why I believe I'm like really going to sit down and focus on if I'm my project. I've narrowed down my basic ideas, but it may be done in phases. So under the planning on Community Toolbox, they had a logic model, which I thought was very interesting. So they break it down that into different parts saying like, how does my initiative or effort work? How is it supposed to work? Why do I think that my strategy is a good strategy? And then you state the activities that will bring about change. So basically, what is my end game and what is the road that will take me to that end game? So the logic model is broken down to resources, activities, results. It can be short term, it can be long term. You should always start with a purpose, a vision. And the community toolbox listed an acronym called VOSMA, which stands for vision, mission, objective, strategies, and action. So the vision is the dream. The mission is the what and the why of the dream. Objective is how much or what do you want to accomplish. Strategies are how are you going to accomplish those. And action is what is the specific change that you want to happen or the effect or the impact. It also included different ways to lay out or produce your logic model. Some use a circle, some use flowcharts. I specifically like a certain one. I'll put an image of it here. So as you can see, it starts on the top with a purpose or a mission, and it flows into either the context or conditions that can be listed on the bottom. And it has the different ways that input and resources will affect the activities, will affect outputs and effects. So I really like how this one's laid out, and I think I'm going to use. People suggest that you start with the effect that you want to change or like the outcome that you want and move backward to figure out the steps to accomplish that. So the benefits of the logic model are that it really helps the planner set priorities and figure out how to do that and also think of the possible outcomes. It also, if you have a plan in place, you're more likely to get collaborators, people, they see that you have a plan and they may want to contribute or help you in your process. So it's good to have a plan because if you went in and you're just like, I want to I want to do this, but it would be difficult for somebody to jump on board because they're not really understanding maybe what your end goal is or how they can actually contribute. So if you have it laid out, they may see something in the activities or whatever that they'd be able to contribute to. The limitations are that the logic model, even though it's set up and you try to think of possible situations, so you say, I make a brochure, these are the people I want to hit, this is what the outcome should be. You can't necessarily predict or be completely accurate, but there's always room for revision. So, but someone could call you out on that. You also want to make sure that you clarify your language when you're speaking with people or when you're explaining a logic model, what you're writing on there, because some people could consider things like, distal future, or they'll call it downstream. So they'll just word it different, or proximal or upstream. They might call things, they might do the sequence differently. So saying the outcomes or the impact, or vice versa, impact or output, or outcomes. But like I said, there's always room for your model to be your model to can be revised. The other section that I looked at was ACT. And I focused a lot on ACT under personal testimony because I am basing my project on a personal thing that happened to me. It fell under the direct action campaign, which is basically using personal testimony to change procedure and policy and laws. I don't know if that necessarily pertains to my project, but I found some good stuff in there, and basically what mostly stood out with me is to back up the emotional story with facts. So it's good to have a personal testimony and a personal story of why you're acting to create change, but it's very important to make sure that there are facts behind it. So in this video, um, and this was great. I am feeling actually a little bit more inspired, a little bit more focused that I can do this. The community toolbox was very helpful, and I'm ready for the next few days to really start putting my plan. I've been also recently carrying a notebook with me and scratching things down, or I actually just pick up my phone if I'm really busy and speak into it, even just hit the video button. I know there's probably some kind of notebook voice or something like that, but I'll figure that out. But I just been realizing that my mind is constantly running with this, so I need to get everything down.